number 7 and think about how you could write a system of 3 equations for that problem. I have highlighted in 3 different colors what we're going to use to write our 3 different equations. I defined my variables using this last sentence. My goal is to find how many of each type of coin I have. X is going to stand for my nickels, Y for my dimes, and Z for my quarters. The first thing I'd like for you to do is I'd like for you to use the pink 42 coins and write your first equation. Think about it for a moment, pause the video, and then press play to see the answer. Hopefully after you thought about it, if you have 42 coins, some nickels, some dimes, some quarters, you thought about the equation and you wrote down X plus Y plus Z equals 42. That's my first equation. My next equation, I'm going to use the $6.60 and just the $6.60 and knowing these are my variables to write my next equation. I will give you a hint. Remember, nickels are 5 cents, dimes are 10 cents, quarters are 25 cents. The equation that I would write using the $6.60 involves the value of each coin. Hopefully, as you thought about it, you decided to write 5 cents X plus 10 cents Y plus 25 cents Z has to equal $6.60. I'd like for you to pause the video and try to write the final equation for what you see highlighted in green. To me, this is the most difficult equation to write, but I know that there will be some of you that actually find that equation. I have to make a table anytime I'm faced with this type of statement to write an equation. In order to wrap my own mind around this type of equation, I have to write it out to where I can visually see what it's saying. It says that you have twice as many quarters as dimes. So I made myself a table. Y is dimes, Z is quarters. I have twice as many quarters as dimes. Twice as many quarters as dimes. Twice as many quarters as dimes. And I could go on. I do it until I can see it. So if I have 8 quarters, that means I have 4 dimes. Now, there's a couple different ways you could write this equation. It's up to you. I believe I'm going to start with Z since that's the way I started the problem. How did I find Z in each of these? If I have 1 dime, how do you get Z? You multiply Y by 2. If you have 2 dimes, how do you get twice as many quarters? Multiply by 2. The other equation you could get, and you don't have to use this one, but the other equation you could get is you could say Y is going to equal half of Z, because 1 is half of 2, 2 is half of 4, 3 is half of 6. These are the 3 equations that I'm going to use. I would not use that normal 5-step equation to do this system of equations. What I would do is this. My beginning step would be to get rid of all of these decimals for the middle equation. Can I do that? Is that possible? Yes. What I may do is I may multiply all of these by a number that will get rid of the decimal. And hopefully you know that number is 100. I rewrote my first equation, just brought it down. I multiplied every coefficient and constant by 100 in the middle equation and got this. And I brought down my Z equals 2Y. This one is very special because I actually have a variable already isolated. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to substitute 2Y everywhere I have Z and then simplify. I substituted 2Y in for Z, combine like terms, have the new equation X plus 3Y equals 42. I substituted 2Y in for Z. I multiplied and got 50y. 50y plus 10y is 60y. And now I have a system of two equations. I'm going to do elimination with this system of two equations. I believe just because of size of numbers, I will choose x to eliminate. If you would like to do that as well, please pause the video. I took the two equations and I did elimination. As I said, I eliminated x. I multiplied the top by 5, the bottom by -1. I added those two equations together. I got -45y equals -450. I divided both sides by -45. I got y equals 10. That means that I have 10 dimes in the coins that I have. Next, I need to find my number of nickels. I'm going to take the answer of 10 and substitute it into this top equation, x plus 3y equals 42. I substituted 10 into that equation. I multiplied and got 30, subtracted 30 from both sides and got 12. That tells me that I have 12 nickels in the amount of coins that I have. Next, I'm going to find the number of quarters that I have. I'm going to use this equation to find my number of quarters. Z is equal to 2 times y. I found y, or the number of dimes that I have, to be 10. So z equals 2 times 10. Z is 20. I'm going to write my final answer instead of as an ordered triple. Instead of 12, I'll write it out first. 12, 10, and 20 as an answer. Since this is a word problem, I'm going to write it to make sense with this problem. Here's my final answer. I found 12 nickels, 10 dimes, and 20 quarters on the ground at school. I used solving the system of three equations, that skill, to find the answers to this word problem. Our final problem for today's lesson is question 8. It is very much a problem that you could see on a standardized test. I'd like for you to read the problem and think about what you would do to solve the problem. Think about what it means when something is a solution. This is the solution to this system according to this problem. What can I do with these three numbers in this problem? Hopefully you thought I could substitute. I know x is 3, y is -2, and z is 1. I'd like for you to take the time now to substitute x, y, and z into the top equation and find a. I substituted 3 in for x, 2 in for y, and 1 in for z. I used order of operations. I multiplied, then I subtracted, and subtracted, I found a to be -2. Now if you'll do the same thing for letter B, find B please. For letter B, I substituted 3 in for x, -2 in for y, and 1 in for z. You can see that here. I did order of operations and multiplied. I subtracted these first two, then I added and got B to be -2. Now in this space, I'm going to find C. For my final step for number 8, I substituted 3 in for x, -2 in for y, and 1 in for z. I used order of operations and I multiplied first. Then I added these two to get 16, subtracted 1, and I got C to be 15. That's the final part of our lesson. I want to talk about just for a moment what you have to do as part of your assignment. Here's your practice of writing equations and doing scatter plots. Here you're going to find your slope and then use point slope form. These are relatively straightforward. Be careful with your fractions. They're not that difficult. If you need help, reach out. I'll be glad to help you. When you do number 8, the first thing you want to do, of course, is answer letter A. But then the next thing you're going to do is you're going to draw a scatter plot. When you draw that scatter plot, my advice would be, and you can use graph paper, there's graph paper in your folder, to make just the first quadrant. And of course, your population will be your X values and your licensed drivers will be your Y values. And then you'll just estimate. You'll plot 4.3, 3.2. Now, what I would do is my largest X is 14. I would probably count out 14 units, so on and so forth. My largest Y is 12. I guess my largest X is 15. My largest Y is 12, so I would count up 12 units, and that's how I would make my scatter plot. When you draw your trend line, let's pretend like this is my graph. That's not my graph. When you draw your trend line, I would use a ruler, and I would just put my ruler in the middle of the data and draw a line. And then to find the equation of this line, you just select 2 points, and they do not have to be data points. Select 2 points and write the equation of that line using those 2 data points the way you did with questions 1 through 7. Thank you.